I've confronted hundreds of men over 2 decades. Men online looking for children to sexually assault.
Well, Cody, I'm Chris Hansen.
I know who you are.
I tried to get into their heads and understand why.
But you have it on your phone.
That's true.
And ultimately make sure they face justice.
Can I just give you some money and leave?
I don't want money. I want the truth.
These are the predators I've caught. I'm Chris Hansen. One of the excuses I hear frequently from the predators I've caught involves loneliness, not being able to find social company, intimate company, just a basic human connection. And when I listen to the excuse from some of the predators I've caught, I understand it. I'm not cold-hearted. I try to relate to these guys in a way where they will tell me their stories, especially when it comes to guys who are caught trying to meet young men, boys, really. I understand there are parts of the country where it's still not easy, even in 2025, to be gay. And I hear this from some of the men in our investigations in areas like Florida and Alabama, where maybe there isn't a thriving gay population, at least in some parts of those states. But it's all bullshit, right? These guys can find adult company if they want to. They're acting out a fantasy. They'll also give you excuses about, I have to stay in this small town because my mom is here. Well, you're 43, 44 years old, Matthew. You can find people your age if you want to. And so while I will listen with a sympathetic ear, as I did with Matthew Klein, who I just mentioned, but deep down, I know these guys make a choice. They make a choice to fulfill a fantasy, to seek sexual gratification with somebody who is not old enough to make that decision. And that's exactly what Matthew Klein did. Matthew, who was 43 at the time we met, surfaced in an investigation conducted by the Polk County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Grady Judd and his team. And this particular operation, called Fool Around and Find Out, took place in May of this year, actually. And I wanted to update Matthew Klein's case because, as you'll hear in just a little bit, the case has now been resolved. But Matthew is almost a textbook case of somebody who maybe at first you could feel a little bit sorry for, but as you peel away the layers of the story, if you look at his behavior, his actions, if you dig deeply into the text conversations he had, the apps he was using, his background, what we found on Truth Finder, you tend to feel a little less sorry for the fellow. The person I feel sorry for would be the potential victim. If there really was a 14-year-old boy, and there very well could have been, and we don't know whether or not he's met others online where he didn't get caught. But Matthew wanted sympathy. And I gave it to him a little bit, as I do in many cases in the beginning, to encourage these guys to tell me their story, because I'm on that quest always to understand better why these guys do what they do. And I want to hear it in their own words. Matthew had been chatting on 2 different apps dedicated to male hookups. And he was chatting with, as far as he knew, 2 different underage boys, 14 years old. And we see this in some of our stings because we've got multiple decoys working in multiple spaces. So it's not uncommon to have a potential predator contact one, have a chat, it may or may not work out, and he's got another line in the water. He's looking for another target. And that's what happened with Matthew. In the first chat, Matthew says, "How are you?" "Good, and you?" says the decoy. "I'm good, bored and horny at home." Decoy says, "I'm sorry." "LOL, why are you sorry?" "I don't know, feel bad, I guess." "You shouldn't feel bad, but you're welcome to come over if you want." It's amazing how quickly some of this goes down on some of these apps. They try to convert over to Snapchat because that erases very quickly. They couldn't get through. Matt reaches out on the phone. "Hey, what's up?" "Maddie from Grindr." "Nothing, doing a little cleaning," Maddie says. "Thinking about lying in bed and watching some porn, LOL." "Please don't be mad, but I'm 14, says the decoy. "Is that okay?" "Are you the same guy I was talking to on another app?" "When?" says the decoy. "A little while ago." So Matt's an active guy, or Maddie as he goes by online. The decoy says no, he didn't know what that other app was all about. Then Matt says, "Okay, yeah, I'd rather talk to you somewhere more private, but did you want to meet? Just to talk?" "What would we do if we met?" says the undercover. "Talk. Besides that, we just have to see. I can't really discuss on here." Matt is being very careful, and one of the reasons why Matt might be so careful is his job. Actually, he's got 2 jobs, but one of them is working as a receptionist in a law firm. That's right. Matt Klein works in a law firm. So besides the fact that he should have known better as a 43-year-old man, he watches his employers defend people all the time and should have some basic knowledge of the law, and he's being careful here, perhaps because of that. Matthew says, "To start, we got to get to know each other." "My parents don't know about this number," says the decoy, "and no one will ever know." "Well, I'm still not going to get into detail here." "Okay, I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry, I just gotta be cautious," says Matt. The decoy says, "I've never met anyone off the internet and want to know what we'd do, you know?" "Well, I mean, I'd want to suck your dick, probably, eat your ass, and fuck you, if you wanted." So, what happened to being so cautious, Matthew? Matthew has thrown caution to the wind. "Do you really want to do that with me?" says the decoy. "Why wouldn't I? I don't know, just asking." "Are you wanting to meet tonight?" "See if you can." "I could meet you somewhere public and pick you up," says Matthew. "Okay, I would need to shower first. Okay. We are staying in a camper in the area no one would know." "You're staying with your parents?" asks Matthew. "Yeah, we're visiting the area, and they're out drinking." "Oh, cool," says Matthew. "I'll meet you someplace like a store. You can shower here if you want. If you want me to shower with you, I will." So Matthew's trying to set this up where he can meet the boy in a safe place for him, then bring the boy back to his house where he can sexually exploit him. So the conversation ends there in this particular case. But later on this other app, Matthew appears again. How's it going? Good. You? Says the other decoy. Actually, it's the same decoy, but Matthew thinks it's someone different. Good, bored, and horny, says Matthew. That's pretty common pickup line for him. What are you doing? Says the decoy. Watching TV. Dick is hard, LOL. How old are you? Says the decoy. 40. Matt shaves 3 years off his age. I like younger. I'm 14. Is that okay? I didn't hear that. Your profile says you're 18, so that's what I believe. Again, Matthew is trying to cover his ass.
More about this predator I've caught in a moment.
If you're a homeowner in America, you need to listen to this. The FBI has been warning about a type of real estate fraud on the rise called title theft, and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on a single document, use a fake notary stamp, and file it with the county. And just like that, on record, they own your home. Using your ownership, they can take out loans against your equity or even sell your property, and you won't even know about it until foreclosures or collection notices show up in the mail. That's why I partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can protect your equity and find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code Hansen, Hansen, at HometitleLock.com, and you'll get a free title history report and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title records, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud occurs, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix it. Don't be a victim. Protect your equity today. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code Hansen, Hansen, or click the link below.
It's finally here.
Oh my God.
The official Chris Hansen merch store. Now you can join the mission with official Chris Hansen merchandise. Hoodies, tees, mugs, stickers, and more. Shop the full collection at haveaseat.dashery.com.
I promise I'm 14, LOL. Why are you on here? Friend told me about it. You looking to get sucked or suck? Get fucked? Now, Matthew, this would have been the time to stop the conversation if you're so worried about hooking up with somebody who's underage. But no, that's not what Matthew does. The decoy says, I just added a pic to my profile. Matthew says, I know, let's play. And then he goes on to say, okay, if you don't want to play, I'd be happy to just suck you off. I want to taste your cum. Directions are exchanged. Matthew says, I'm nervous, but I want to play. Matthew describes his car, and then he shows up at the Sting House location. He doesn't meet a 14-year-old boy, but he does meet the deputies and detectives of the Polk County Sheriff's Office, and soon he'll meet me. We see Matthew's car enter the neighborhood, all the while texting with the decoy posing as the 14-year-old boy. He pulls into the driveway. I'm not coming in. I'm not coming to the door, he says. I'm waiting outside. I'm nervous. Can you pull up so I don't have to get wet? I don't see you. And it's raining out, by the way. You're freaking me out, dude, says Matthew. I'm going to leave. Why are you freaked out, says the decoy. At about this very moment, Polk County sheriffs move in. The deputies block Matthew's vehicle from making a getaway. They surround the SUV and take him into custody.
Turn around. Turn around. Hands behind your back. Okay? I didn't do anything.
Matthew's initial excuse is one I've heard many times before. I didn't do anything. Well, he didn't get the chance to do anything just yet.
Get him out of here.
Matthew's now going to be taken to the command post for questioning, but take a look at this over here. And we find out, as Matthew is being taken away, that his other job, besides being employed at the law firm, is as a part-time Uber driver. He's got the sign. It would appear that one of Matthew's jobs was as an Uber driver. And that always raises a concern, because if you've got a guy who's willing to travel to meet a child for sex, what is he willing to do to somebody who might be vulnerable in his Uber vehicle? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Matthew is taken in for questioning to a mobile command unit with the Polk County Sheriff's Office. He's questioned by detectives, and then I get my chance to talk to Matthew. Initially, he doesn't seem like he's very willing to participate in our conversation, but little by little, I'm able to get him to talk to me. Hey, Matthew. You hanging in there?
Trying.
Kind of a rough day, huh?
Yeah. Who are you?
I'm Chris Hansen.
Okay.
And we do a series of stories called Takedown.
Okay. I really don't want to participate in that.
Okay. But I have a couple things I want to clear up, and you can talk to me or not. And I understand this is not an optimal situation for us to meet. But how did you end up over in that neighborhood today? Was it just a chat online? Is there a misunderstanding, or?
It was a chat online. I didn't plan on, following through with anything. I didn't ask for any, nudes or anything. I'm lonely. I'm a lonely person.
And this is where the lonely excuse comes in. And I'm only too willing to listen, by the way. I'm trying to start a dialogue, get inside Matthew's head a little bit. I think if you understand how a predator's mind works, you can better understand how to protect yourself. It's kind of been my mantra throughout all these years of doing these investigations. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, loneliness is no excuse for trying to exploit a child.
The lifestyle that I live in, that some young people go through, it's lonely too. And I just, thought I could talk. I don't know if it would have progressed or not. I know it shouldn't have. And it looks suspicious that I followed through with it, but.
It looks suspicious, all right, Matthew. Not only did you follow through with it, you were talking to multiple people who identified themselves as 14-year-old boys. So the question begs, how many other times have you done this? How old are you, Matthew?
43.
43. And what do you do for a living?
I'm a receptionist.
You're a receptionist at a law firm? And then I saw an Uber sign on your car. Do you Uber a little bit too?
I do part-time, yeah.
And the fellow you were talking to online, did they say who they were or how old they were or anything like that?
Yeah.
And did that make you nervous at all?
It made me nervous meeting up, yes. But I really didn't have any intentions of progressing that far. I thought, what was the harm of meeting somebody, talking similar interests? I know it was difficult for me growing up.
And this is where Matthew claims he was going to be the counselor. He says to me that it was difficult for him being gay as a 14-year-old. And he was just going to help this boy through the difficult time. Well, that's not his business. That's not the business of some strange 43-year-old guy who a child has met online to engage in this sort of activity. It's just not. It's predatory. It's sinister. It creates potentially other predators. Did you have a hard time when you were 14 years old?
I was bullied. I thought that I was the only one that felt the way that I feel.
It's a confusing time for a 14-year-old.
Yes.
Did you think maybe you could help this
I thought maybe we could talk. Yeah. Let them know that things get better. I think things have gotten better in general for that.
And that's the point, Matthew. Things have gotten so much better that you can find people your own age. You're not in isolation. You're near big cities. This excuse about being lonely, and he's got other excuses that are even harder to buy, is nothing more than a bad justification, rationalization for committing a crime, for exploiting a child.
If what you've heard shocks you so far, join us back in a moment.
Hey, Chris Hansen here, and as you know, I've spent decades catching predators who hide online. So internet security is a big deal to me. Predators thrive in the shadows. I hunt them. ExpressVPN is my digital blind, encrypting every move, so ISPs, Wi-Fi snoopers, and even data brokers can't track my work. Public Wi-Fi at stakeouts, hackers see nothing. My emails, locations, research locked behind military-grade encryption. One tap, I'm invisible. The service offers zero-log servers that are KPMG audited, available in 105 countries, and supports 14 devices on a single plan. Fastest speeds mean no lag when lives are on the line. On a lighter note, I can even unlock shows overseas. Caught the Night Manager and Top Gear specials not streamable in the US. One click, done. Find out how you can get up to 4 extra months by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/Chris Hansen, ChrisHansen. Nancy's also going to talk about how it was near the 18th anniversary of his father's death, and that makes him act recklessly. Well, you know, parents die. My parents have died. I remember them on their anniversaries. I think about them all the time. But to argue that because it's the anniversary of a parent's death, your father's death, and that makes you act recklessly, that's horseshit, Matthew. And it's offensive to invoke your father's name as an excuse to exploit a child. Wholly offensive. And why are you here in Polk County?
Because my mother, she's my life. She's the reason that I'm here in Florida. I can't be without her.
Right.
I don't know what I'm going to do when she passes.
Is your mother ill?
No. She's getting up there in years now.
So you're close with your mother?
Yeah.
And do you live with your mother?
No, but I have to live in Florida because she doesn't want to. She was a snowbird and she decided to stay. Now I get the joy of telling her that I'm in jail on Mother's Day weekend.
As we sit here, we're approaching Mother's Day itself. How do you tell your mom that you got arrested for something like this 2 days before Mother's Day?
It's also a day after the 18th anniversary of my father's passing.
I'm sorry.
I can't. I'm not looking for sympathy, but I can't deny that I always get a little self-destructive around this time of year.
So what is the anniversary of your father's passing?
Yeah. He passed away 18 years ago yesterday.
18 years ago yesterday.
And I always get a little self-destructive this time of year.
Right.
I shouldn't. I did stuff. There's something I shouldn't have. I was trying to be smart about it and not not, ask for things like nudes or anything.
Trying to be smart about it. It sounds like you were trying to be smart about covering up your activities. That's what it sounds like you were trying to be smart about. Maybe because you had some experience working in a law firm. But you talked about sexual acts.
I did.
You talked about performing oral sex on the boy.
I did.
You talked about seeing where it goes. Specifically, you said you were going to suck his dick.
Yep, and I should have just blocked him when I found out his age. I've done that before. I don't know why I didn't this time. It was stupid.
You said you wanted to taste his cum, right?
You're right.
This is not gray area stuff.
I know. I'm rather disgusted right now with myself.
Matthew's disgusted with himself again. Where was all this discussed during the course of the conversation, Matthew? You say, I like younger.
I do prefer in their 20s or 30s, yes.
20s or 30s, but we're talking 14 here.
I know.
And he told you he was 14.
Yeah.
And you said, I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
I'd rather not talk about it anymore.
And so I asked Matthew the obvious question. The question I always ask these guys. What if we weren't there? What if you were alone with this boy? What would have happened? What would have happened, Matthew, had the boy gotten in your car and he had been open to a sexual encounter?
I don't think I would have been able to bring myself to do it.
But you brought yourself to come over to the house where he was alone. You brought yourself to cross this line coming to visit a 14-year-old boy.
I wasn't going to go in the house, though. We were going to chill in the car.
You were going to chill in the car. And what was going through your mind when you pulled up to that house? What were you thinking?
That, I wonder if he's going to be cool. I wonder if we're going to, have things to talk about, or he's going to be quiet. I like having people to talk to. I don't have many friends. I'm pretty much a loner. But why go after somebody who's 14? You see how this looks, Matthew. I do.
I mean, the best case scenario is not good. You chatted about sex online with someone who told you they're 14. That's a crime. You traveled to meet that person. That's a crime.
All right. Yeah, I know. I feel like shit about it, and you're trying to push my buttons. Please stop.
Trying to push my buttons. Please stop. Oh, I'm sorry, Matthew. Did I offend you by asking questions about why you were going to sexually exploit a child? One of two decoys posing as children during the sting operation who you approached? I'm sorry. I'm pressing your buttons. I'm just trying to understand why somebody would do it.
You're not a detective. My right to remain silent.
All right. I'm not a detective. You're right. Was he the only underage boy you were talking to over the last couple of days?
I'm not answering you anymore. Please stop asking me questions.
I'm not answering any more questions, Matthew says. Well, that's fine, Matthew, because I've heard enough.
Why are you doing this? You are purposely antagonizing me. You're trying to push my buttons.
I'm not trying to push your buttons. I'm trying to get to the truth.
Please leave. Don't bug me anymore.
All right. Is there anything else you want people to know about your
I want you to get the hell out of here.
I know, but you're not in charge here, Matthew. You're not in charge here. You could have avoided this whole thing by not getting in your car and driving to meet a 14-year-old boy after a sexually charged conversation. Don't blame me for what you did, because that's bullshit. You're around the law enough to know that this ain't right. And if there's anything else you want people to know, now would be the time to share it. Matthew? Anything else you want folks to know? What do you think this boy's parents would say? 43-year-old man drives across town to meet their child. And with that, Matthew starts to pout. He's not going to say another word. Subsequent to my conversation with Matthew, we learned that he was HIV positive. Now, in this day and age with medicine, you can be HIV positive and not spread the virus to a sexual partner. But he never said anything to this child about being HIV positive, and that, in Florida at least, and many other places, is a crime in and of itself. And so, besides being charged with the crimes associated with grooming and trying to sexually exploit a child, using a computer to do it, traveling to do it, he was also charged with failing to share with a potential partner an STD. That's a crime. And Matthew was charged with that as well. Just recently, Matthew pleaded guilty to the crimes associated with what he did in May of this year. He agreed to serve a sentence of 60 months in prison. That's around 5 years. His release date is September of 2030. Once he does get out, he will have to serve probation and register as a sex offender in the state of Florida. We wanted to know what else was in Matthew's background, and that's one of the reasons why we've partnered with truthfinder.com to learn as much as we can about the men who surface in our investigations. Truthfinder has become an indispensable tool for me during these cases. I mean, obviously, law enforcement has vast technology to try to get a background on some of these guys, and sometimes even that's difficult because people use ghost phones and fake numbers and all kinds of things. But when we have a real name, as in Matthew's case, we can find out a lot about his background. Turns out that this was not Matthew's first brush with the law. In 2014, he was arrested for petty theft, larceny, possession of meth, and driving under the influence. He was able to avoid any jail time, any serious jail time, at least because of that. If you're looking for answers about people with whom you have business or any other sort of relationship with, Truthfinder is a great opportunity for you to learn more. To learn more about how Truthfinder can help you, go to truthfinder.com/predators to find out more.
More of our story in a moment.
Hey, Chris Hansen here, and I'm obsessed with Dupe.com because it's a game changer for holiday shopping. I fell in love with this sleek designer lamp for my friend. Perfect vibe, but the $1,200 price tag? Heart attack city. Holiday budgets are tight, you know, and then I found Dupe.com. Typed in the URL and boom, found an identical lamp for $200. Looked just as good, maybe even better. Dupe.com is catching on and helping people save big, and it's so easy. Just go to Dupe.com, paste a product URL or upload a photo, and it instantly finds affordable alternatives. No brand name markup, just the same style for less. Best part is, it's 100% free. Why overspend when you can gift more? Dupe.com really is the easiest shopping hack. Just type DUPE.com / before any product URL in your browser, and boom, it instantly finds you more affordable alternatives. Perfect for gifting. They even have an app and a browser extension you can download. No account required, no sign up required. It's completely free to use. Stop overspending on brand names and start saving on holiday gifts with Dupe.com immediately. As you know, I like to hear from you. And this week's question comes from Eric in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Hi, Chris. My name's Eric. I currently live in Raleigh, North Carolina, but like you, I am originally from the Detroit area. In fact, one of my sisters graduated from Michigan State University in 1983, so her time there would have overlapped a bit with yours. I have two questions, both related to your time in Detroit. First, I know you said Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance was a big influence on your choice to become an investigative journalist. Did the Oakland County child killer case have any additional influence on your career choice? Those events took place in the 1970s, and if my math is correct, you would have been in high school during that time. Is there any possibility of featuring this case in one of your other True Blue programs? It is a compelling story that I think your global audience would find interesting. Second, Detroit recently lost a broadcasting legend with the death of Ray Lane in late September. I know he was in the sports realm and worked at a different station than you did, but did your paths ever cross, and do you have any memories you can share? Before moving to TV, Ray was Ernie Harwell's sidekick for Detroit Tigers radio broadcasts. Any memories from that era? Like maybe the 1968 championship season. I was born in the early 70s, so I missed out on that one, but still have fond memories of the 1984 season. Next time you're in Raleigh, as tempting as Artie Makepeace's hot dog cart might sound, I would instead suggest you try some authentic Eastern North Carolina barbecue. It's as good as anything you'll find in Memphis, Kansas City, or Texas. Anyways, thanks for all you do. I told my brother I'm heading to Atlantic City and need to get on the road once I put this beer in the refrigerator.
Well, thank you for those questions. I could do an entire episode on all of that, and I'm going to give you all some information you may not know. You know, you bring up the Oakland County child killer. And yes, that did have a significant impact on my decision to not only be a journalist, but to pursue crime. The Oakland County child killer, if you don't know, was a series of crimes in the mid to late 70s where both boys and girls disappeared. They were murdered by one or two suspects. It's rare that you find somebody who kidnaps both boys and girls, but that was the case here. The children were found dead, as I mentioned, but they had been fed. Their clothes had been washed. They had been cared for, albeit likely sexually abused. Now, they didn't have the technology back then they have now. The case has not officially been solved, but there is a suspect that most people think was responsible. Later in life, I got to know the King family. One of the victims was Timmy King. And it's a heartbreaking story of a battle fought by this family to get the truth. And you know what? That's a great idea. I should see if somebody in the King family will come on the podcast and talk about that. It's horrible what they went through. These kids were just out skateboarding, hanging out, not doing anything wrong. We did some stories on it back when I was a reporter in Detroit. There were some pretty good leads that came across. And the latest version I've heard that seems the most likely, and there have been, some documentaries done and some really good reporting on it. There was a son of an auto executive in suburban Detroit who was suspected to have been involved with potentially another person. There might have been some collaboration. Both of these potential suspects are dead now. But I believe that reporting brought some closure to the King family. But I'll do some additional reporting on that. In terms of Ray Lane, what a giant he was in Detroit. Ray not only was a wonderful guy who I had the pleasure of meeting many times over the years, he was, as you mentioned, sidekick to Ernie Harwell, the baseball radio legend, but he was also an anchor in his own right at WJBK Channel 2, was then a CBS affiliate, now a Fox affiliate. Great guy. Loved him. A giant like Bill Bonds and some of the others who had such an impact on my life. And interestingly, Ray Lane's daughter, Deanne, was a classmate of mine at Michigan State University, J School, and a dear friend as well. She worked in campus radio, which is where I met her. I worked at TV 10 in Lansing. She worked at Channel 6. She went on to become a top news anchor in St. Louis, Missouri, and I've lost track with her, but thank you for raising that, because I did note Ray's passing recently, and it's a good excuse to track down Deanne and see how she's doing. But a lovely family, great folks. As I said, a broadcast legend. My first World Series, we moved to the Detroit area in 1968 from the Chicago area, Chicago proper, actually. My parents, both of their families, were originally from Chicago. And I remember going to 2 games of the 1968 World Series with my dad. In those days, all the auto industry execs and sales guys had season tickets. We had them. It's great. A World Series ticket in 1968 cost $8.50. I'll never forget it. I had the stub for years. I don't know if I could find it now. And in the 1984 World Series, which the Tigers won, I started at Channel 7 Action News as a reporter the day after, that Monday morning after the Sunday game that clinched the series for the Tigers. There were riots in the streets. Police car got turned over, set on fire. It's a very busy first day at work, but I was ready for it. In terms of barbecue, I've had some great North Carolina barbecue, and I look forward to having it again. Thank you for walking me down memory lane. I enjoy talking about all that stuff. I'm always sad and pray for the King family, though, and I will reach out. And I'll reach out to Dion Lane, too. Thanks again. You can find me all over social media at Chris Hansen on X, official Chris Hansen on Instagram. Have a Seat with Chris Hansen on TikTok. I think we have like 870,000 followers on TikTok now. My wife and I did a little musical skit, I guess you could call it. They have these songs that come out and people do their own version. Apparently it's pretty popular. Cameo, should you desire, getting ready for the holiday season. We're going to have some merch coming out very soon. You'll see all about that here and on various social media platforms. My streaming crime network, True Blue, TRUBLU, watch trueblue.com for details. New Takedown episodes, our Predator investigations, drop every single Thursday. I think there are like 180 of them out so far. And as always, you can find me right here at Chris at PredatorPodcast.com. I'll be watching and listening.